Yes, sir.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you, thank you.
Good.
Good afternoon, dear friends. I'm very happy today because we are meeting after a long gap, and the occasion is very special. I think we are meeting on the occasion of this national webinar that is organized by Saraswati College of Social Work, Vasi. And for that, let me congratulate especially the principal of Saraswati College, Dr. Sandeep Shinde sir, and all faculty members with assisting in this national webinar. I'm also thankful to management of the Saraswati College, especially Kothari sir, and my friend Dr. Ghansham Elne sir, who has recommended my name as a speaker for this national webinar. Dear friends, again, let me thanks to Wag sir, I think, who has introduced me in a proper manner, very interestingly, and I'm thankful to him also. Dear friends, I'll be covering my topic that is given to me. It's avoiding contradictions in social work research. Before touching to this topic, let me tell you a few of the things regarding research and research methodology. Dear friends, we are contributing significantly towards the field of research since long back. The researchers are undertaking their research under different titles. Guides are guiding them. The scholars, they are submitting their research to the universities. Universities also awarding degrees to those research scholars. Everything is going on, I think, since back. It is a tradition. But there is no similarity as far as this methodology is concerned in the research at different levels, maybe at PG level, MPhil level, or doctoral level. Dear friends, I have corrected many thesis at the level of doctorate, MPhil, and of course at the level of PG, that is MSW levels, wherein I have seen many contradictions. And the reason behind those contradictions may be how the guide undergone through the orientation in regard to this research methodology, how he or she socialized in regard to this research methodology. Accordingly, the professors or the guides, they are guiding to their students and research scholars. And therefore, I think there is no similarity. And we are discussing about the same, that there should be similarity, there should be uniformity as far as this research is concerned. But I think till today, I think it is not happened. And these efforts of this Saraswati College of Social Work can be one of the part of that. And I hope that at least today onward, by listening this session, I think the professors or the students will try to minimize the contradictions, what they makes in their research, maybe as a guide or maybe as a students. On this occasion, let me ask some of the questions, because I have some questions in my mind since long back, and I think there are no answers for that. Whether we could give justice to the area of research even after a long time, whether we could resolve the matters in the society through the research, whether the society benefited a lot due to this research undertaken in different areas, whether the social work educators or scholars could develop any kind of theoretical framework. I think the question of all these, the answer of all these questions, I think no. And if the answers are no, I think what are we doing? What are we putting our efforts which are not leading for betterment of the society? If the researcher is unable to provide the result, produce the result, then why he's doing? Why is spending the time? Why is wasting the time? I think these are many questions in my mind, and I think we people are there to give answers for the area of research. But I think this is not happening. We are waiting for the same moment to come. And therefore, if we all wish to overcome all the contradictions, definitely there is a need to look at the aim of research. I think there is an aim behind all kind of research that we are undertaking. And if you've seen the aim of research, definitely this research, each and every research is required to give something new to the society. It is required to brought something new before the research scholars or the people those who are contributing significantly towards the area of research. And let me tell you a very significant thing, that each and every research should lead for betterment of the society. It should lead for resolving the matters that is faced by the people in the society. At least this research should lead for minimizing the severity of the issues in the society. I think these are very significant things, but I think many of the researchers, they are avoiding this fulfillment of aim of this research. And therefore, I think many times this research are not leading for betterment of the society. And if we all wish to, including me, minimize this gap or contradictions as far as this research methodology is concerned, definitely we can look at this aim of research and definitely do likewise. Dear friends, again, there is a contradictions we are making in regard to the definition of research. Very simple definition I am using here for your reference, that the research is one of the scientific inquiries. It is the investigation that develops, that passes through certain process, certain stages, and certain phases. And that way, I think this research is an inquiry and also the investigation. Research is searching. Research is researching. It is searching again and again. Now, where we have seen the contradictions as far as this definition of research is concerned, definitely the researcher, the scholars, they are trying to search the matters. They are conducting inquiries. They are investigation wherever it's required or during the data collection. Even they are searching the matters, but I think they are not researching, because researching in research is very, very significant thing, I think, that is required to follow by the researcher, because many times many times it happens that in some of the cases, the researcher or the scholar is unable to give answer of some of the questions. And the reason behind that may be that he has not researched the matter. He has not gone to the respondent again. He may not be went there in the field, and because of he may not be getting sufficient, he may not be having sufficient information, and therefore on all these occasions, wherever there is a need of going for researching, it is difficult, it is not difficult, it is easy to go back for getting some answers where the matter is stuck at the level of, I think, maybe analysis or wherever it is necessary. And this, for avoiding contradictions in research, as far as this fulfilling the definition of research, I think researching in the research is very, very, very significant. I think we are framing the title for each and every research, and without title, I think any research is incomplete. And there are different views in regard to these titles. How should be the title? Whether it should be simple, short, or large. How many words should be there in the title? So that way, I think there's a debate on this, and whatever these guides socialized, accordingly they are guiding their students, and the students are framing the title. But let me tell you, I think one of the participants was listening now, he asked about the title, but it was related to title in the article. But I'll tell you, title in the thesis, that very simply, as I told Dr. Jagdish Jadhav sir, the title should be very simple, it should be understandable, it should be short, it should be clear. I think these 5 words are very significant one that is required to follow while framing the title in the thesis. Then how many words should be there? I think there is also again debate, the people are debating on. So I suggest you to avoid the contradictions while framing the title. 10 to 12 words are sufficient, which are ideal one, so that your title will be, I think, simple, understandable, readable, short, and clear, so that the title will attract to the readers. After reading that title, immediately you should understand to the readers. And I think this care is required to take by the researcher or scholars. Again, while framing the title, the researcher or the scholar should keep in mind that there is a need to use a positive words rather than negative words. I'll quote one example of this. How can possible, I think. For example, any research is, any scholar is undertaking research regarding employment. In that case, I think there is a possibility to use a particular word like unemployment situation. For example, the plight of unemployment situation in Pune city. There is a possibility, I think. But if he has to make this positive, the same thing, then he can mention likewise the plight of employment situation in Pune city. I think employment situation is definitely positive, whereas this unemployment situation is, unemployment word can be a negative. I think this is very simple thing that we have to keep in mind. And to avoid the parameters in regard to this title, definitely, whatever the things are required to explain, reflect in the title, that central idea is required to reflect from the title. This care is required to take by the scholar. Central idea, because many times the researcher is having some ideas in his mind, and it should reflect, the title should reflect that central idea of that. And dear friends, if the scholars fail to follow all these things in regard to the title, I think he will not be able to sell the ideas, whatever he or she is having in his mind. Because at the end, through the findings, I think the researcher expects to sell his ideas, say something through his research. And if he unable to follow all these things, I think in this regard of title, he will not be able to sell his idea. We are writing something as a part of statement of problems. I think this is second point we use in our proposal and thesis also, where we are making, many of the people are making some contradictions. What is happening in this regard of statement of problems? Majority of the researchers, they are writing introductory part under this statement of problems, whereas they are missing to mention the statements. Because if you forget to mention the statement under this statement of problem, I think you will not be able to complete this title when there are no statements. And let me tell you, dear friends, these statements can be in two forms you can write. That is, one is in the statement form, plain statement, and another one is in the form of questions. But those statement and questions should reflect the gap, if any, in regard to existing knowledge. I think it's very simple thing we have to follow. If you are not showing any gap as a point of the statement of problems, if you are not raising any questions at the end, I think it's difficult to give answers for those questions at the end, at least through the findings. And therefore, raising questions as a part of the statement of problems is very significant things that the researchers should keep in mind and mention some statement showing gap or some questions that raise some questions or the issue that is to be addressed through the research. Sometimes as a part of this statement of problems, there is a possibility to write some reasons why this situation is, possible explanation these researchers try to give, but I think those things are not at all expected, because you are new to this field, you are new to this matter or the issue, and therefore there is no need to write something, any positive causes or solutions tentatively, not necessary to mention. You just give introduction and raise some statement or questions at the end of this statement of problems. These are the things I think there is a need to follow by the researchers to avoid contradictions in the research. Again, a very significant thing that we follow while doing research, I think everybody is following that. And if the research review is not doing by researchers and completing its research, I think that research will not be complete, I think, because the basis for this review of literature is something different. And if they are unable to follow it, I think those research can be meaningless. And therefore, this is the stage that start at the beginning, that is to be covered or complete at the beginning, when the researcher thinks to frame the title, when he got an idea about doing research, simultaneously he has to visit to the libraries, he has to refer books, journals, published, unpublished material, or research documents, and he has to prepare his own notes, and that can be used for further research. This review of literature is one kind of summary of literature. After referring number of literature, he prepared one list or bibliography, and the same he or she can use in the library, in the research. Basically, this review of literature is for identifying the gap, if any. many times there is a possibility to cover the matter that is going to covered by this present scholar, and therefore I think he has to look into the matters whether any area is covered earlier by different researchers or not, and then only I think the researcher or the scholar will be able to identify the gap. For that, I think one thing can do by these researchers when he or she sits in the library. After referring a number of books or sources of literature, he can prepare one table consisting the areas covered, areas to be covered, and gap between these two. Then only I think he will be easy. He will be identify the gap, whatever is there, if any. Then he can focus on the unresolved problems, unresolved matters by referring number of books. I think this is very significant thing. And of course, after referring number of books, he can develop a theoretical framework at least limited to his topic, limited to his theory, limited his research. I think that is also one of the benefit of this review of literature. And again, there is a debate on number of references. How many number is required to refer as a part of doctorate, as a part of MPhil, or as a part of PG level. I think if you refer the lecture of Dr. Lal Das, he always says that at least 200 references are required to refer by the researchers. So likewise, let me tell you in regard to this MPhil and of course PG level, around 100 references are expected to refer by the research scholars, and around 30 references at the level of MSW. I think this can be ideal that we can follow and minimize the duplication, or we can avoid the repetitions many times, contradictions. Then objective of study can be the significant part of research, and if you exclude this objectives, I think the research can be meaningless, and therefore this objectives has a very great value, and without which I think we cannot go ahead, and therefore this objectives always try to justify the title. While framing the objectives, I think the scholar should keep in mind that whether these objectives listed out can justify the title or not. If he compare, definitely he can frame better objective or suited objectives for the research. And therefore, I think the objective should be clear, complete, and of course specific. Now, what are the contradictions these scholars are making? Many of the people are making this contradictions in regard to these objectives. Some of the scholars, they are mentioning general objectives and not mentioning specific objective. Some of them, they are mentioning both general objective as well as specific objective. And some of them, they are mentioning only the specific objectives. And therefore, I think there are contradictions. There is no similarity. And therefore, let me suggest you on this occasion that you don't go for this general objectives, because that covers in title also. And therefore, you can adopt this specific objective only, because it will be possible to cover in your research. Then limiting the objective of the study is also, I think, one of the part of debate. How many objectives should be there in the thesis? I think people are mentioning, and that number is, I think, vary individual to individual, scholar to scholar. But to avoid contradictions in the result research, as far as these objectives are concerned, I'll suggest you, dear friends, 3 to 5 objectives are sufficient, which are ideal one, and you can go with this 3 to 5 objective, because if you list out more than that, it will be difficult to cover in your study all those objectives, because all the objectives are to be achieved. All the objectives are to be achieved, and you fail to achieve these objectives in your research, I think your research can be, I think, meaningless. And therefore, for making your research, making your attempt meaningful, I think you can compare your objectives with hypothesis. You can compare with your objectives with findings. You can compare your objectives with content-wise scope that is listed by you. And I think if you do it in your research, definitely you can overcome on the contradictions or make your methodology similar to many of the people. There will be no ambiguity in that regard. Dear friends, we are mentioning in all the research, in all the theses, significance of the study. And very limitedly, I think majority of the people, they are mentioning as a part of the significance of the study. But let me tell you, dear friends, हमारे अभ्यास का महत्व, हमारे संशोधन का महत्व हमें ही बढ़ाना है. आज किसी के पास भी आपका जो रिसर्च है उसी के बारे में प्रशंसा करने के लिए टाइम नहीं है. तो आपका रिसर्च का महत्व आपको ही बढ़ाना है. इसीलिए you can add some of the things for increasing the importance of your thesis or research, and you can take note of all these things. That is, the research will be significant to the NGOs. The research will be significant to the government. The research will be significant to the professionals. Research will be significant for the research scholars in the field. So you can add as much as possible, I think, so that there will be, I think, you will be give importance to your study. And I think that will be, I think, needed to avoid these contradictions. And if you mention very less thing, I think you yourself are not saying that your research, your topic, your thesis is not that much important. And therefore, you can add all those things in that. Very significant thing that we are writing in our research, in our thesis, that is scope of the study. Two ways we are writing the scope, basically geographical scope and content-wise scope, subject-wise scope that we are mentioning. But dear friend, let me tell you what contradictions we are making. I have corrected, as I told you earlier at the beginning, I have corrected many theses where this content-wise scope, subject-wise scope is missing, whereas they are mentioning geographical scope. And I think unless you mention this content-wise scope, I think you cannot show your depth of study, because this content-wise scope indicate the focus of your study, coverage of the study, and boundaries of the study. I think this is very significant thing. I think many of the researchers or scholars, they are missing. They are avoiding to write as a part of this scope of research. And this both type of scope, that is geographical scope and content-wise scope, is also very significant one in your research. Then again, there is a debate and shown contradictions we all people are making in regard to this assumption and hypothesis. Dear friends, if you've seen the definition of this both, the definition are different. The logic behind framing this assumption and hypothesis is different. However, we are considering this both assumption and hypothesis as the same, which is not same. But if you've seen how the scholars, they mention assumption and a hypothesis, it is seen many times same. same. So let me tell you, dear friends, to avoid this contradiction in regard to this assumption and of course hypothesis. These two things are separate. You have to keep in mind, because assumption we are considering as the thing that is accepted as a true. This assumption is always universally true, that is accepted by majority of the people. Everywhere it is a true, and it is always self-evident true. assumption में जो कुछ आप assumption बना रहे हैं, उसी लिए कोई प्रूव करने की जरूरत नहीं होती। आपको जो लगता है वो लेके हम आगे जा सकता है। there is no need to prove that assumption, because it is universally true. It is universally followed by majority of the people. ये हम करते हैं। I think there is no need to tell you that much about this assumption. Majority of the people, they are, I think, writing in a proper manner, but only one thing is, I think, left in that, that is, while framing this assumption, they have to keep in mind that what is the central idea of the research. That central idea should make the part of this assumption. That is only the thing, I think, which is missing in many of the research done by the researchers. Now, about the hypothesis. If you refer the definition of hypothesis, that the hypothesis is possible explanation of phenomena. Means while framing this hypothesis, the possibility should reflect in that. And there is a basis for that, in which I think you can show the possibilities many times. इसका मतलब है, जो बात सिद्ध नहीं हुई है अभी तक, लेकिन वो सिद्ध करने के लिए जो अपेक्षित और काल्पनिक सिद्धांत हम मानते हैं या बोलते हैं, लिखते हैं, वो जो सिद्धांत होता है, वो जो कल्पना होती है, वो हाइपोथेसिस होता है। Hypothesis is one kind of idea. It is one kind of prediction that we predict before doing our research, and then we follow it in further days. And if you think to frame the hypothesis for any kind of, I think, research, you have to take note of some words, and if you use those words, I think you will be able to frame a proper hypothesis. For example, if you use the word if and then, greater and better, I think definitely by using these words you can frame your title. कारण इसमें संभाव्यता रिफ्लेक्ट होनी है, संभाव्यता प्रतिबिंबित होनी है। अगर संभाव्यता प्रतिबिंबित नहीं होता है कोई हाइपोथेसिस में, तो दैट इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड एज अ हाइपोथेसिस। तो ये हम थोड़ा सा ध्यान में रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि हाइपोथेसिस नहीं लिख रहा है और जो लिख रहा है वो प्रॉपर नहीं लिख रहा है, जिसमें संभाव्यता रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं होती है। I'll tell you example of this hypothesis, how to construct it by using these greater and better words. For example, those who are conducting research in regard to welfare policies or development of the society, in that regard, you can frame this hypothesis likewise. Greater the attention towards marginalized people by the government, better the improvement, better the upliftment of the marginalized people. I think this can be the very simple, I think, example of this hypothesis. बहुत सादे सीधे तरीके से हम ये हाइपोथेसिस बना सकते हैं, लेकिन जिसमें संभाव्यता रिफ्लेक्ट होनी है, प्रतिबिंबित होनी है, ये हमें ध्यान में लेना है. So definitely you can avoid the contradictions while framing the hypothesis. But many times I think the researchers, they are not understanding what logic is behind construction of this maybe assumption and also the hypothesis. If they try to understand the definition or the logic behind it, definitely it is easy to frame it, and through which I think they can minimize the contradiction, minimize the gap, and make their research, I think, similar. Then again, we are using a particular methodology, a particular research design in our research. And basically, we are following three research designs, that is descriptive research design, exploratory research design, and third one is in combination of both, that is descriptive exploratory. I think our research is around these three designs, even though I think we are making some contradictions in this. What is happening? Definitely the scholars are mentioning research design, but while justifying why he or she is using this particular research design, he is mentioning the matter which is given in the research methodology book and not writing as his own as a part of this application. Dear friends, the matter given in the reference book or in the book of research methodology, that matter is for us to understand, and then it is expected to apply in our research. And whatever going to apply, I think that process you are need to mention as a support, as a justification, and not to mention the paragraph given in the reference book. I think you can avoid these contradictions that I have experienced, that I have observed in many theses. So you can, I think, overcome. This is very, very simple thing, but you are expected to need to understand what is the logic behind it, behind all the research designs, so that you can minimize the gap or contradictions. Sampling method is also one of the significant part in our research, and that is also mentioned by many of the researchers, I think, in their thesis. But again, they are making the same mistakes. When they are using probability sampling, how they are using, they are not writing. But why they are using, they are writing and giving support of the matter that is written in the theory, written in the research methodology book. I think which will not serve the purpose. I think you have to write down the process that you are going to apply, how it is applicable, how that theory is applicable in your research. Likewise, you are expected to write down in that. Dear friends, let me tell you, in research methodology, there are no compartments. Means only particular methodology, particular sampling method is applicable in particular situation. It is not like that. We people have made compartment. Only the thing is that whatever you are applying, you have to prove that by giving support of theory. That is the matter. We have to justify the matter. We have to justify the methodology. That is the concern, I think, so that we can minimize the contradictions in regard to this sampling methods. This sampling method is one kind of roadmap for selection of sample. And if the roadmap is clear, definitely you can select the sample very easily and properly and according to the norms given in particular sampling methods. Now, very significant part of the research, that is analysis of data. We all are analyzing the data, but very big thing I think we are making as a part of these contradictions, and nobody is bothered about it, right from student to MPhil scholar or doctorate scholar. What is happening, I tell you, in regard to this analysis of data. Majority of the scholars, they are describing the data that is given in the table and not analyzing it. However, they are calling for that, they are saying for that as the analysis. Dear friends, don't make this kind of mistake in your research, because if you wish to value your thesis by the referees or external persons, I think there is a need to analyze the data. For example, I tell you one example. जैसे कि टेबल में एक पर्याय होता है और पर्याय का नंबर रिस्पोंडेंट का नंबर होता है और बाद में उसी का परसेंटेज होता है। जो ऊपर होता है वही नीचे हम लिखते हैं। जैसे कि एम्प्लॉयमेंट के बारे में कोई मुद्दा है, ऐसा समझो कि वहां पे बेरोजगारांचं प्रमाण कमी आहे म्हणणारं किंवा बेरोजगार आहेत असं म्हणणारे 70% लोक आहेत, 70 लोक आहेत आणि त्याचं प्रमाण जे काही असेल ते टक्केवारीमध्ये असेल। तर हे आपण खाली कसं लिहितो? तर आपण असं लिहितो की वरील तक्त्यावरून टेबलवरून असे लक्षात येते किंवा निदर्शनास येते की या अभ्यासामध्ये साधारण 70% लोक हे बेरोजगार होते असे दिसून आलेले आहे आणि त्याचं पर्सेंटेज जे काय असेल ते आपण मेन्शन करतो। मला वाटतं वरच्या टेबलपेक्षा वेगळं खाली काय करतो आपण? तर मला वाटतं खाली काही वेगळं करत नाही, फक्त वी ट्राय टू describe the same thing by adding 3-4 words in that and not more than that. And therefore, if you wish to analyze the data rather than describing it, definitely you can add some angles for that. Different angles are required to add in that particular figure, in that particular number. Then only you can make it, you can convert that description into analysis. For example, पुन्हा एकदा मी सांगतो तुम्हाला, जर तुम्हाला 70% लोक बेरोजगार दिसले असतील तर 70% लोक बेरोजगार म्हणजे मोठी संख्या आहे आणि मग तुम्हाला लगेच प्रश्न पडला पाहिजे की याची कारणं काय असावीत, काय होती, हे तुम्ही अगोदरच खरं तर ते लक्षात घेणं गरजेचं असतं। आणि जेव्हा तुम्ही 70% लोक बेरोजगार असल्याची कारणं जेव्हा तुम्ही तिथं नमूद करता त्या डिस्क्रिप्शन मध्ये, त्या वर्णनामध्ये, तेव्हा युअर मॅटर कन्वर्ट इनटू अनालिसिस। आणि म्हणून मित्रांनो, मला या ठिकाणी खऱ्या अर्थाने सांगायचंय, तळमळीने सांगायचं आहे की आपला डॉक्टरेट लेवलचा रिसर्च हा विद्यार्थी लेवलचा रिसर्च कधीच असता कामा नये। आणि मला वाटतं आय हॅव सीन सम ऑफ द केसेस दॅट वी ऑलवेज सेज while discussing that some of the theses submitted by or sent this thesis to us as an external referee, the level of those theses is like student level. I think this is unfortunate to tell you. असं घडू नये, असं घडणार नाही याची दक्षता मला वाटतं तुम्ही आम्ही सर्वांनी घेतली पाहिजे आणि दर्जेदार अशा पद्धतीचं संशोधन आपल्याकडनं कसं होईल असं आपण खरं तर विचार केला पाहिजे। आणि म्हणून while analyzing the data, you have to keep in mind all these things, I think, so that your thesis will be qualitative, your data will be analyzed properly, and it will be appreciated by the referee or any other people who will read it. And I think definitely they will admire your efforts. And for that, I think you have to take care of all these things and overcome on the contradictions. Then findings also one of the significant part that is that are given by all the researchers at the end of research, because the research is for giving something new, as I told you at the beginning. And the same thing I think mentioned by the scholars in their thesis at the end. I think we are writing in a better way. We are following the guidelines of this writing findings in the research to a better extent, I think. But definitely, let me suggest one thing, very simple thing, I think. If you mention likewise, definitely you can avoid the contradictions as far as this writing findings in our thesis. That is, some of the students, some of the scholars, they try to mention figure at the beginning of the statement, at the beginning of findings. For example, 75% लोक या अभ्यासावरून असे लक्षात आले आहे की 75% लोक किंवा 75% लोक बेरोजगार होते असे या अभ्यासावरून लक्षात आलेले। असं जेव्हा आपण लक्षात घेतो तेव्हा सुरुवातीला एक नंबर येतो 75%। तो पर्सेंटेज असेल किंवा रिस्पॉन्डंटचा नंबर असेल, जर तो सुरुवातीला येत असेल तर मला वाटतं तो टाळण्याचा प्रयत्न करावा आणि सुरुवातीला शब्द वापरून तो आकडा, ते पर्सेंटेज पुढे लिहिण्याचा आपण प्रयत्न करावा, म्हणजे ते वाचायला सुद्धा बरं वाटतं खऱ्या अर्थाने. तर एवढं आपण कदाचित साधी सुधी गोष्ट आपण केली तर मला वाटतं निश्चितपणे वी कॅन राईट आवर फाइंडिंग इन युअर thesis properly. That will be appreciated. It will not be difficult for the readers. असंही त्यातनं होईल. आणि मला वाटतं असं जर केलं तर ही जी छोटीशी विसंगती आहे आपल्या अभ्यासामध्ये, ती विसंगती दूर आपण करू शकू असं मला निश्चितपणे वाटतंय. Then one of the very significant thing in regard to this research methodology, ethical concerns in the research. Ethical concerns in the research. Dear friends, let me tell you, as I told you earlier, I have corrected many theses here before, and I have tried to find whether this point is there in the thesis or not. Let me tell you, very unfortunate, whatever thesis I have corrected here before, I think except one or two theses, there was no this point that is ethical concerns in any thesis. I think this is unfortunate. ही दुर्दैवाची गोष्ट आहे असं मला वाटतं. आणि मला असं वाटतंय की एखाद्या स्कॉलरला कदाचित माहिती असू शकत नाही, एखाद्या विद्यार्थ्याला ही गोष्ट माहिती असू शकत नाही, परंतु मार्गदर्शक म्हणून जो कोणी काम करत असेल त्याला निश्चितपणाने अनेक गोष्टी माहिती असणं गरजेचं आहे असं मी या ठिकाणी खरं तर अपेक्षित करतो. आणि जेव्हा त्या गोष्टी थेसिस मध्ये येत नाहीत, दिसत नाहीत, याचा अर्थही पुन्हा मला असा लक्षात येतो की मार्गदर्शकाला सुद्धा कदाचित हे माहिती नाही. आणि त्याचं एक उदाहरण मी तुम्हाला सांगतोय. हे घडलेलं उदाहरण मी सांगतोय. काही महिन्यापूर्वी मी एका विद्यापीठामध्ये PhDचा वायवा घेण्यासाठी गेलो होतो. आणि त्या वायवामध्ये मी प्रश्न विचारला होता, कारण मला माहिती होतं की हा मुद्दा त्या थेसिस मध्ये नव्हता. आणि पुन्हा क्वेरी म्हणून मी रिपोर्ट मध्ये पाठवला होता आणि अशी अपेक्षा केली होती की या स्कॉलरने पुन्हा याच्या संदर्भामध्ये अभ्यास करावा आणि समजून घेण्याचा प्रयत्न करावा अशी मी अपेक्षा केली होती. आणि तसं घडलं असेल असं मला वाटलं होतं. आणि म्हणून तो प्रश्न मी विचारला होता. तेव्हा द स्कॉलर्स वॉज अनेबल टू गिव्ह आन्सर्स ऑफ द सेम. तेव्हाही त्याने उत्तर दिलं नाही. आणि मग आम्ही पुढे गेलो आणि तो वायवा संपला, अवॉर्ड वगैरे झाला, हे सगळं ठीक आहे, काही हरकत नाही. परंतु जेव्हा मी परत पुण्याला निघालो तेव्हा मला काही मंडळी सोडायला आली. आणि मग तिथं जेवढे कोणी प्राध्यापक होते त्यातल्या एक दोन प्राध्यापकांनी प्रश्न विचारले की सर, खरं सांगू का की एथिकल कन्सर्न्स काय असतात, खरंच आम्हाला माहिती नाही आणि आम्हाला थोडंसं सांगाल का. आणि तेव्हा मग मी उभं राहूनच 15 ते 20 मिनिटं या एथिकल कन्सर्न्स वरती चर्चा केली आणि त्यांना किमान अंशी सांगण्याचा प्रयत्न केला. आणि तेव्हा त्यांना खऱ्या अर्थाने दे ऑल वेर सरप्राइज. त्यांना आश्चर्य वाटलं की अरे हे पण आहे का वगैरे. तर मला वाटतं आय थिंक दिस इज अनफॉर्च्युनेट. At least the guide must know all the points I think mentioned or expected to incorporate in the thesis. He should be understand. He should have a clarity about it. I think this is the very simple things where I think there is a need to concentrate by these research scholars. I think let me suggest you regarding this ethical concerns. There are many ethical concerns that you can mention in your thesis, but at least you can mention 4 ethical statement in your research that is mentioned in the book of Kothari. Kothari has given those statements. If you refer the Kothari's book, I think edition number 3 or 2, I don't remember, but definitely it is mentioned in that book all these ethical concerns. And definitely you can by adding this ethical concerns in your research, you can make your thesis valuable. I think very simple thing that I'm telling you, there is a need to concentrate by all of you. And last but not least, last part is, I think, covered by Dr. Jagdish Jadhav, sir, I think, but it was regarding or limited to this research article. But I'll say a few things regarding this references. These references are expected in thesis as much as possible. I think this is one thing, but when I when I corrected some theses at the level of PhD, I think those theses were containing very limited references, whereas our students are giving that much references in their project report. I think this is unfortunate, I think, as far as this research or thesis at the level of doctorate is concerned, and therefore they have to list out as much as possible the references. But while listing out the references as a part of this reference, this they have to keep in mind that they have to strongest references. Strongest. What is the strongest references that is used in the thesis? The researchers have taken some notes from those books. Those references can be considered as the strongest references, but many times it is seen that those references given at the end of study, some of the references, I think these scholars, they have not referred those references many times, but they are listing out those references. You try to avoid those list of references which are not referred by you, and definitely I'll suggest one of the method, one of the format for this giving references. There is a reference that is the style is used for that. We are suggesting many of the students and the research scholars to refer APA format. American Psychological Association had given, I think, 7th edition, I think, came up, and it will be available on the media or laptop also. It is having. You can refer 6th or 7th edition that we are suggesting many times to our students, and students also preparing. And of course, the scholars working at the doctorate level, they are also referring. I think that is ideal one in this present situation. Dear friends, this was the things which was to tell by me, and I have tried to tell you, and I think, I hope I made you satisfied as far as this title, that is avoiding contradictions in social work research. Dear friends, there are many things to tell you, but I think I have talked around 1 hour, and this session is followed by question answer. So once again, I congratulate and thanks to Dr. Shinde sir, Principal of Saraswati College of Social Work, Management, Dr. Elne sir, Wag sir, and all other people, and of course the participant, those who are listening to me, I think since the last 1 hour. Thanks to all of them, and I'll stop here and ask my dear